Welcome to the Side Action Podcast, the sports gambling show that covers everything in the world of sports betting from A through Z. We'll cover the four major sports, as well as anything and everything in between worth some action, and will increase the size of your bankroll. And here we go.
All right, we are live. Welcome to the Side Action, Season 6, Episode 5 of Season 6. I'm Jim Weglars, a.k.a. Wegs. You can follow me at Wegspool on Twitter and on Instagram.
And I'm Coop. You can follow me, obviously, on Twitter, at Dalton Cooper, at Mr. Grumpy Gills on Instagram as well. We are the Side Action Pod. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram as well. And I think it's a great way to start every episode, but we are live back in the studio. How are you?
We're back in the studio. Yeah, we're live. Don't worry, the ambulances will be here. I did get some feedback that, you got to cut down that. We told it to Callie.
Yeah,
you got to cut down that ambulance noise. I'm like, that makes it the Side Action Podcast without the ambulance.
The authenticity is what separates us from a lot of different other media outlets you could choose to go to. In my opinion,
that's right. Well, first let's talk about for an on-viewing audience. We got the YouTube going live, but for the people who like to listen to us, we've got some special apparel here for some team. What's this blue again?
No, this is the Candy Ass Aqua. But the quest for 20-0 is still alive, and the vibes were high coming off a record performance. I had to show a little bit of my homerism because it's never going to buy in high. It's never going to be, it's never going to get any higher right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. They looked great this weekend. I am wearing the Four Shadows hat that I got this weekend. Thanks, Rob. But even though you got mad at me because I got the booze from Emma, not him, whatever. Long story short, it was more of a consolation prize. The second hat for the Survivor, which we'll go over in a minute. So how was the weekend? We obviously went to the softball party on Friday at the Stanfords. That was a lot of fun. I was bad at Flip Cup, which we got a little tense there sometimes in the Flip Cup. I did have to document Mary was cheating. I was talking about this. She was doing this kind of weird hand thing, but she's still good at Flip Cup, trust me.
Yeah.
You have a good time?
No lack of competitiveness, that's for sure. No lack of competitiveness in that group. No, it's great. I mean, they have a really nice house. It's the first time I've ever seen a kitchen stove like that. He's got a professional, I don't know what you call it, range. I'm not real sure, but it's cool to see everybody again. We had downtown Art Murphy. Shout out to Art.
The prime time, man.
Yeah, the prime time. Yes,
he was actually in rare form. He was fired up.
He was.
He came in a little late and hit that. And did you end up having the Malort with the spicy?
No, I had to drive, so I wanted to be.
Smart.
I was staying a little bit responsible.
Well, Art came in guns a-blazing and was taking a shot of that right away. I mean, I had 3 of those shots, and 2 of them I had the sport pepper, which was not ideal.
Yeah, I was going to say you had to explain what was in that mold.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Ridgeway, one of our friends, too, on the team, she had put sport peppers, which you may have had them on a Chicago hot dog. There's kind of little pepper. Not too spicy, but they got some spice. But she loaded them up in that Malort, let it sit for a couple weeks or something. She sent me a picture during the week, said, hey, this is for Friday. I'm like, oh, boy. And then when she was pouring them out, it just happened to be that Jimmy Wegs gets a sport pepper in his shot glass, 2 out of the 3 shots. Come on.
Yeah, you can't wimp out, right? It's in front of everybody. So
exactly.
But that was a great time. It was a really good time. I'm still a little bummed that we're not doing flag football because just to keep that group is always a good time. But hey, we're still the free swingers. So
that's why I'm wearing. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. This is the flag football shirt.
Yeah, they can't take us away.
From last year champ, repping the flag football team. Pour one out. This is a LaCroix. And then on Saturday, I did get to play volleyball a little bit. It was a beautiful weekend here in Chicago. Got to play a little bit, and then we hit a brewery. You guys hit the street fair, right?
Yeah, we went to the 312 Street Fair. That was not. It was pretty cool. They had I'm coming around on craft beer. I couldn't tell you any of the names of them, but I could tell you kind of what I like and what I don't like. So
Sean is a big fan.
Yeah, big fan. Yeah, she could tell you all the names too. A Honey Bear, I think Honey Bear Hug was one of the ones that I was fond of. But yeah, it was a good atmosphere. And then I think we met at Pizza Lobo.
Yeah, we met at Pizza Lobo for a little bocce action. I think you guys closed it out. Were you the one who won it, or was it?
Oh no, we lost. We were on that losing team. Yeah. Well,
we were on the same team.
Yeah, we were.
Who was the one who won? It was Lee was on our team. Right?
No, it was Callie and
Scotty Green.
Yeah, the ringer. He is a ringer, man.
He said he never played. He's puts it on there perfect.
I don't believe that for a minute.
We had the chance. We were doing pretty good. I feel our side kind of did well. The other side, it was a little.
No, we were more a roller coaster. We were feast or famine. Yeah, we either did really well, scored 2 or 3 points, or we were giving up 2 or 3 points.
I think you and I, our first attempt was back wall. We smashed the back wall, which is not a good thing in bocce. But it was fun. And then I hit Four Shadows on Sunday, as I mentioned, which was fun, although we'll talk a little bit about the demolition of what happened for the week there and later. So let's kind of go into that a little bit because you're already wearing the sweatshirt. Let's talk about who I'm taking to the shed this week.
Yeah, who are we taking?
I'm taking Sean Payton to the shed.
Oh.
And the reason why, not only did he get destroyed, by the Dolphins, it was 70-20, which is a crazy score, but he just still had that smug look on his face. You guys got destroyed. I mean, like, a couple things that came out during the broadcast, or maybe it was immediately after, was like, they never talked to Mike McDaniel about the job. So that was one, like, beef. We have obviously Vic Fangio, right? So
right.
he's another beef. And then it was the Tua, right? Because I think Peyton was talking smack about Tua.
Yeah.
He's not an NFL quarterback.
That Teddy Bridgewater was going to take over for Tua in the middle of the season last year.
So there's a lot of things that they had a lot of fuel to. That's why they kind of ran it up, I think. But yeah, I'm taking Peyton to the shed. And for real, I mean, 0-3, I thought they were going to be better. I mean, I don't know if you thought. My dad was right. I hate when dad's right. But
yeah.
He was like, are you serious? You've got 10 wins for them? I'm like, well, I thought they're going to be good. But apparently not.
Shout out to Papa Wegs for reading, Shout out to him.
Exactly. Thanks for reading the blog once in a while, Papa.
Well, sometimes he's seen enough football. He's probably seen every Super Bowl, too. So he just knows better. Let's see. There's a couple that I want to take to the shed. So I want to take the whole state of Colorado football to the shed because the day before, the Broncos got embarrassed. Dion and the boys went up to Oregon and unfortunately got embarrassed as well. That's about all I'm going to say about that. We're kind of a Coach Prime podcast. I think we're kind of big homers.
For sure.
I don't know if I forgot to mention last week, but preseason hockey's starting up.
Oh, okay.
So we're on the cusp, about a month away.
NHL.
Yeah. The first preseason game, I don't know if you saw for the Canucks, they actually got beat by the Flames 10-0. And scoring 10 in hockey is like scoring 70 in football. It didn't happen very often. So it's a good way to start your season.
That might hit the over.
Also, I want to take the Miami Heat to the shed.
Okay. Yep.
As everybody, I don't know, we'll throw in the quick NBA, but Damian Lillard obviously got traded yesterday, and shout out to Dan Levitard. They're all kind of sad down there in Miami. It's a sad scene.
Yeah, to the Bucks.
35-1 is what their championship odds now. They're behind the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh.
So just to let you know. Also, I don't know if you know Lou Holtz.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to the shed this week, too.
He was,
What was the quote? I don't want to misquote him here.
Yeah.
I have it down. A quote. Saturday's game, Ohio State has not been physical enough to beat premier opponents. And the last play of the game, they had 10 men on the field. We'll just leave that there. And then I forgot to mention 2 weeks ago, special shout out to Mike Babcock. I don't know if you're familiar with this story or not. We're going to take him to the shed. He's been long deserved. But he got fired from the Blue Jackets head coach before the season even started.
Oh.
I don't know if you know why, but rumor has it, and there's a lot of different rumors, if you will. Speculation maybe is the best way to put it. He was bringing in players, even new and old veteran players, and making them airplay their phones on the TV in his office and going through photos and stuff like that to better get to know his players.
Wow, that's creepy.
So it's a little weird. So he got taken to the shed as well.
Okay. Well, that's quite a few shed trips today. But you have a new segment now. I mean, this guy's on the podcast 5 episodes. He's taking some things over here. Club Dub. When you want to explain what that is now? Yeah,
Club Dub is kind of opposite of going to the shed. So I think the Bears actually. I stole this one from the Bears a couple of years ago. Last time they were in the playoff hunt, they had Club Dub. I don't know if you remember that they had. So I thought that was kind of a fun. But it's just kind of who had a win for the week. So I don't know if you had anybody in mind.
Well, I mean, on a personal note, we'll give Primetime Murphy. He obviously kept winning at Flip Cup. I think he only had one round that he lost. We'll give you a Club Dub, even though we got a little contentious because the cheating thing. But I would say,
got a lot of passion, that Art Murphy.
Exactly. In the NFL, I would say Travis Kelce would be a Club Dub guy. I mean, obviously the Chiefs destroyed the Bears here, 41-10. But more, you got Taylor Swift next to your mom in the press box. She's saying, let's effing go. I mean, you caught on camera and just high-fiving, and then I don't know if she actually had to sneak out a popcorn thing. I don't know if is that true?
There's a lot of rumors around that as well.
But she still was walking with Travis and, took off. So hey, shout out to Travis Kelce. I mean, my daughter, we try to confirm the rumors. Come on. It's right there on national television.
Yeah, that's Big J journalism.
That's right.
That's funny thing is Callie was like, I hope Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift don't get mentioned on the podcast because it's all my timeline has been. So that's really funny that he's in Club Dub. So let's see. Club Dub. We'll first start with the Dolphins. So they had 726 total yards of offense.
Unbelievable.
First time in NFL history, by the way, that a team has had 5 rushing touchdowns and 5 passing touchdowns in the same game. I don't know if you knew that. So
Hard to do.
Nice little nugget there. Obviously, the Cardinals and the Texans were in Club Dub. They had some pretty big upset wins.
They did.
Which we'll get into here in just shortly. Another little nugget, Christian McCaffrey is going to Club Dub. And do you know why?
No.
No, perfect. Well, I'm glad you don't know. So I'm going to tell you. So he actually tied the San Francisco record 49er touchdown record for most touchdowns scored consecutively. So he's gone a dozen straight games with a touchdown. He tied Jerry Rice's record.
Gotcha.
He's going to, obviously, they play the Cardinals this weekend, which we'll get into. So that is looking like it's going to be his record.
Oh, okay. So anytime touchdown, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Also, shout out to Ronald Cunha Jr. I don't know if you saw this last night. He became the first man in MLB history to have a 40-70 club. So 40 home runs, 70 stolen bases.
Nice.
They beat the Cubs in extras again last night.
Yeah, and I'm not a Cubs fan, but it's sad. I went to the game last weekend. I told you that. Yeah, last Wednesday. Oh,
it's just sad. They've blown a lot of late games recently.
6-0 lose.
Yeah,
3-2 lose.
They did a 6-0 game with the Braves on Tuesday night. We're watching the bowling alley. Yeah, it's just anyway, just a mess. And then the last addition to Club Dub, we're going to put the Shanahan family.
Okay.
Because and the reason why, if you look at the NFL offenses right now, 4 out of the top 8 are actually former Shanahan assistants. So you have Miami, San Francisco, the Rams, and Minnesota. Those are 4 of the top 8 offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, everybody obviously touted McVay's system. You have a lot of head coaches from that, but I do think the Shanahan tree, which goes back to the Mike from the day back in the day. I mean, it's running the football too. You got to run the football in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. Dolphins. So that's right. So that's Club Dub this week.
It's a very full club.
Yeah,
you're letting a lot of people in the club, dude. You got Red Rope. Come on.
There was a lot of victories this week. So yeah, absolutely.
I gotcha. Well, let's go into your the headline games for this week for college. This is another Dalton special here, touching the college here. So you've got some big games in the Pac-12, which is Friday night action. Which action. Over in Detroit, he loves Friday night action. So what do you got there? You got
Utah, Oregon State. Unfortunately, Oregon State lost last week at Washington State.
It's okay.
So just disregard that sprinkling national championship.
They could one loss.
We also have obviously USC at Colorado.
Yep.
We have Kansas at Texas.
Yep.
You have LSU at Ole Miss, and then you have Notre Dame and Duke. Last week we were 2-0 again in our picks, so that brings us to 7-1 on the season.
Jeez, I hope you're putting some more units on this.
Yeah, we're gonna. Maybe we might have to. Well, this week I didn't like so much. I think Vegas is getting on to the Coop.
They are figuring things out. Yeah,
the Coop metrics, what I like to call it. So
I think they're digging in you. They're hacking your computer.
I couldn't agree more. But we're gonna take Notre Dame minus 5.5 this week. They're playing Duke. Duke obviously beat Clemson earlier this year. But when you look at Duke from a stat standpoint, a lot of their running game comes from Riley Leonard, their quarterback. I think Notre Dame looked really good against Ohio State. They're going to overmatch them. I think they're going to be physically overmatch them. And I'm going to take Michigan on the road against Nebraska. I think Harbaugh coming back, they're still going to have a little bit of chip, but I think Jim's going to be a little upset. They're going to want to rub their nose in. A lot of people are talking about how Nebraska could win this game and everything.
Right. Well, we saw that against CU.
Right.
So they're saying Notre Dame's favored 5.5 on the road at Duke.
That is correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
But we're going to take
them. You like the favorites. I know you like the favorites. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the NFL now. Let's get into the meat here. So the week 3 was a little crazy, but not that crazy. You had an even split of road and home victors this week, which is kind of unique. The road teams have been killing it lately. And the favorites, they don't come back all the way, but again, we're getting a balancing on the spread. You had 8-7-1 as my tally for the favorites versus dogs. But the unders did come back in a big way. So remember, for week 1, all unders. Week 2, all overs. This week, 11-4-1 to the under. So I'm expecting this week either to go back to the over or they're going to finally figure it out in Vegas and split it down the middle. And the spread really only mattered in that one game, and that's really the last game of the night, last game of the week was the push, which we'll talk about. But yeah, only 6% of the game. So overall in the season, you're at 14.5%. 14.6%, 7 out of the 48 games played so far. So let's go into the recap. Survivor, this is why I got this hat, because I was crying in my beer. Jacksonville, 40% of the pool, I know we talked about last week, 40% of the pool was on the Jags in this game. They got housed, which we'll talk about because we also was a pick for us in the official contest play. And then another 10% was on Dallas and Baltimore. So now the pools, only 72% have been cut from the pool. 3 weeks, 72%. Now, I feel pretty bad, but actually last year I heard 74% were cut. So it's pretty much doesn't matter. Every year there's all this, to basically 3/4 of the league gets cut, which is really tough. And yeah, what can you say? And then the official picks 2 and 3. We had a rough week. We'll talk about the games individually in a minute. But there is somebody who has gone 14-1 through 3 weeks. So they're kicking ass. And then in order to be in the money, you'd have to be 11-3-1 at this point in the top 100. So we got some work to do. We're 8-7. We're kind of in the middle, 21-25. Top half, but not even close. So we got some work to do.
How's the optimism? How are the vibes in the camp?
Well, it's tough. The first 3-4 weeks, honestly, I think are the hardest. To me, in the contest or any pick'em thing, the first 4 weeks and the last week are the hardest. Those are the 5 toughest weeks because there's not enough data. You don't know about teams.
Right.
1 week, Dallas wins by 30, and then they go and lose to Arizona. I mean, what the hell is this? You get the Dolphins trounce a team that maybe wasn't very good, but how are they going to go against the Bills this week? This is where you don't know. You have to see consistency. It's not that it's perfect in week 13, but it's what you're getting at least from an offensive standpoint. Players, I kind of feel like the first 4 weeks are more like preseason now.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it's been tough. So there's a little optimism. We usually do very well in the third quarter. Hopefully we can get a little bit better in the second, and then we can dominate in the third and fourth and win some money.
Staying time. Exactly.
So we talked about the Jags losing. They were actually a 9-point favorite in the contest. That did get bet down to like 7.5 before kickoff. But C.J. Stroud, I'm going to give him some credit. This was Bennett. We talked about him in the podcast last week. He did say Stroud was playing pretty good. He still doesn't have any interceptions in 3 games. So he's balling out. And the young receiver, Tank Dell, was pretty good. But what I thought really, it's attention to detail. They screwed up that kickoff. Yep. They mortar kickoff. They let what did you call big white dude going to the house from 85 yards. I mean,
it looked like a fullback going to the house.
How is he doing that? It's just, it seems like the Jacksonville might be a little bit reading their press clippings from the preseason a little bit. They're not focusing on the attention, and even Lawrence hasn't played great. The defense just looked atrocious in that game.
Yeah, only if somebody would have warned you about picking Jacksonville.
I said it myself on the podcast. This is the playback. They literally haven't won a game against them in 5.5 years or 4.5 years.
They split almost every year. They
don't split. They've won one out of the last 10.
Wow.
1 out of 11 now.
Man, that's tough. Mm-hmm. But no, you're right. The dominance, I think, in the line of scrimmage is what really surprised me. Just going back, looking at the time that C.J. Stroud had to throw was impressive.
Not touched.
And the shot plays down the field, they are actually an explosive offense. And he hasn't made any mistakes. He's not beating himself, it's huge for especially a rookie quarterback to come in and do that. But man, I felt bad about my Steelers. I don't know how you can feel about your Jags right now, but
that's okay.
But luckily they play in a weaker division. Obviously, we don't know the health of Indy and everything else.
And they get to play in London this week. It's like they're home.
Right, they're going home. Yeah, exactly. So, and they're going to be on the Toy Story game. I don't know if you saw that or not. So
that's bizarre.
So that's what you get when you lose to Houston. You get on the Toy Story game. So.
The other game we were gravely wrong about was Washington. They were plus 6.5 at home. What can I say? Sam Howell is not good. And I didn't think he was that great. I kind of bought into a little bit of the hype in the offseason that he was, he can make big plays, whatever. 4 interceptions in this game, 2 in the red zone. He also had a pick 6. It was 16-0 in the fourth quarter. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And then the final score was 37-0 because he kept turning the ball over. At some point, they have to consider going to somebody else. I think maybe one more week. But I know they got the first 2 wins, but I'm not sure if that was on the arm of Sam Howell, to be honest with you.
Oh, man. Well, they had 9 sacks, too. I don't know if you mentioned. You've kind of left that out, too. But, that was – Buffalo has kind of rounded into form since playing the Jets. Obviously, they haven't really played they played Jimmy G and Sam Howell, not exactly –
yeah, we'll see against Tua this week, right?
But, yeah, just from the jump, man, they were all over Washington. I watched a little bit of that game, and they changed it after the first quarter because the line play was just so one-sided. It was wild. But just I don't know if I don't know if I blame this entirely on Sam Howell. I think obviously 4 turnovers, 4 picks is never a good thing. But just the line play was just so one-sided. I don't think any quarterback would have had a realistic chance.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo looks healthy even without Von Miller. They dominated. That linebacker he had a big game, interceptions and stuff. So a game that we did get right, but I will tell you that it was a pretty bad beat so the Saints went to the Pack, and they actually flipped because when Aaron Jones was ruled out and Watson wasn't going to play, supposedly he's going to play tonight, they were actually the favorite. I think they were a 1-point favorite at the close. So New Orleans comes out, in the contest they were 2-point dogs on the road. So we took them. So they come out, they're just destroying this team. It's 17-0. They had a punt return for a touchdown. They looked really good on defense. In fact, Green Bay couldn't do anything for 3 quarters. And in the fourth quarter, give Jordan Love some credit. I mean, he made some things happen, and they scored on their last. Well, actually, they didn't score on the last 3 drives, but they had a couple scoring drives, and then they got stuffed inside, the red zone because they went for it, and then they still got it back because, whatever. Derek Carr got knocked out of the game. I mean, that's a big
AC joint.
Yeah, AC joint, but they couldn't get anything done, and then obviously Jameis did get him in field goal range. They missed the field goal, and they lose the game 18-17. So kind of a bad beat if you were the Saints. I mean, you're up all game, and obviously you push in that case. Or you lose outright actually.
The money line is where the bad beat was. The Saints money line is where you'd be really upset. But no, I guess it shows that Derek Carr is a little more valuable than what some people think, I guess. Just because, just the flow of the game felt like it changed when he left the game. I know Olave was having a really good game. I still think he finished with over 100 yards finally. The Saints defense still hasn't given up more than 20, so that's a nice little nugget for you there. So I think that's 8 in a row now, dating back to last year?
We said it was, I think it's 11.
11? Okay, I can't remember. We'll have to have the stats department look it up. But no, it just shows that if they can get competent quarterback play, this team could be really dangerous.
It can be good. We'll see.
They're getting Alvin Kamara back, so that's going to be a nice
suspension.
That's going to be a nice juice for them. Hopefully Derek Carr's not out too long. We're going to see. AC joint's kind of what Baker Mayfield dealt with his last year in Cleveland, and we all know how that ended.
Don't have that zip,
Yeah, we'll see. So
another pick that went our way finally was the Steelers. We were rough on them week 1, but they've done good in the last 2 weeks. And this one they actually played solid. They were 2.5-point dogs at Vegas, and I was honestly kind of surprised Vegas stayed the favorite in this game. All the metrics I was looking at, more of the money was coming on Pittsburgh. I didn't understand why Jimmy G was getting the money here, or was getting the points, or laying the points. So in this game, very similar. They were up big, 23-7. They were dominating. And then late in the game, I think these guys aren't quite in shape yet. Late in the game, the offense is pushing the ball. They get a score. And then inexplicably, when they're down 23-15, they had gotten a 2-point conversion with 2:25 to go. They decide to kick the field goal on 4th down. I mean, what the hell are you doing? You're inside the 15. I mean, what are you doing? Well, here's the thing. And I know I'm not all about. We'll talk about analytics in a minute. I don't know if we're going to talk about that Charger game.
You're more into the analytics.
Well, it's flow of the game. You've got them kind of on the ropes. Maybe you don't get it, but the bottom line is you still had to score a touchdown.
That's fair.
So they end up kicking the field goal, and then they didn't get the ball back and lose outright, 23-18. So that was a really boneheaded decision. Got roasted on every radio.
The theory is that he had the over. That's what the theory is in the Coop.
He had the over?
Yeah, that he would have had the over.
Oh, you mean the under?
No, he had the over. That's why he wanted to. That's why he wanted to kick the field goal and score again. Yeah, because he wanted to make sure he
covered over.
So he definitely had the over. That's why he kicked it. But no, it made sense a little bit too. The only thing that I do agree with your part is when you have good defenses like that and you get inside like the 15 to 10 yard line. You probably should go for it because you're probably not going to get there again.
That's right.
More than likely. The only reason why it kind of makes sense to me is just because you had 3 timeouts, and the Steelers had just went 3 and out previously to that. So it's if you stop them 3 and out again, you could maybe get it back before the 2-minute warning.
Right.
But they didn't look good at all. I mean the offense looks a little anemic. Obviously. TJ Watt.
Garoppolo got knocked out too.
Yeah, TJ Watt looks defensive player of the year for him. I think he's got. I think he had 2 more sacks again. So that defense is humming. And I think the reason why Vegas was probably favored is because I don't know, Pittsburgh scored 14 of their points against Cleveland the game before.
Well, Kenny Pickett is still not playing great.
So. Right. So we'll find out. And I don't know if you've seen the Chandler Jones videos on social media, but that's definitely an unfortunate situation. So
one of the picks that we went opposite each other, and you won on this one, was Philly against Tampa on Monday night, the first game, and they did look good. But this game was kind of interesting in the sense that I still had hope. There's a little backdoor situation. Philly's up 25-11, but maybe you get a score, onside kick. Oh no, they kick off the ball, and Philly gets the ball in the fourth quarter. up 25-11 with 9:22 to go. Not unlike the situation we just discussed. Oh, you're probably going to get the ball back, right? Oh, no. Philly went on this monster 75-yard drive that bled the entire clock. I have never seen that before. They didn't even have to score.
Usually got to pay extra for that backdoor action, by the way.
Oh, yeah, extra. Yeah. So you get that cover. We do not with Tampa on that one, unfortunately. So
just Baker in prime time usually doesn't go well. There was a couple. His interception that he threw actually wasn't on him. They were doing a breakdown or on film if you watch it, but. I think the Eagles' defense is starting to come around a little bit. They're definitely starting to lean more back into the run game, which they did amazing last year. That's back-to-back games, or they've ran over 200 yards, and that's their sauce. So if they can run for 200 yards on
they do the push, right? So they get anytime it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, they just kind of line up and push. I mean, Jalen Hurts is not small too. They push him and they can't stop it. Nobody can stop that damn thing.
Yeah.
Other games we talked about, I have you at 6-5 in Beaver Nation. Is that right?
Yes.
Or maybe
6-5-1 technically.
Oh, 6-5.
Yeah, I pushed with the Rams because of that. Yeah, those damn Rams.
So. Okay, so the games we talked about, New England, which I think you took, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Patriots did dominate.
Almost that Hail Mary.
Although I will say they dominated the box score, but they still left the back door open. It was 15-10. I don't know. Mac Jones isn't playing great. But Zach Wilson just sucks. I mean, this dude just sucks. 18 of 36, 157 yards. You can even see Saleh lying or trying to say a message with his eyes. He's like, Zach's still our quarterback. But he's losing the locker room. I mean, what are you doing? This team, the defense didn't play that bad. Obviously giving up only 15 points, but the Patriots did cover the 3. So congratulations.
Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate that. That was a crappy weather game, too. They had rain most of the game as well. Just again, the line of scrimmage. I mean, obviously it was this one was kind of one side. The Patriots were able to run the ball a lot better. That's 2 weeks in a row that the Jets have kind of getting ran on as well. Just
get tired.
Just to your point, I think they're really losing the locker room. There's I was reading an article today. I might say this for our preview for this week, but there was another quarterback name thrown out there for the Jets that we'll probably get to. But it's not looking good. This is getting. I mean, they had a lot of optimism, and it's really hard to.
The Chiefs this week.
Yeah, which we'll get to here in just a second too. But it's what are the Patriots going to do? Do you take a quarterback this year with so many good ones? I mean, because obviously the Mac Jones thing it looks like it's not working now. Obviously the skill players aren't the greatest.
Right.
I don't know who has a worse wide receiving core, the Chiefs or the Pats. I don't know who you take.
Right. But obviously you got a different situation. They got a great tight end there. Hunter Henry.
Yeah, Hunter Henry, exactly.
Is he still number 1?
No, he's number 3 now. Okay. We'll get there. Okay. It's a long season, Jimbo. Don't worry.
Okay, what about this game? We talked about Minnesota. I did like Minnesota -1. I think it dropped to a pick or something at the close. But this game was an ultimate stay-away game. We stayed away in both contests for good reason. What a crazy game, though. Just back and forth, whoever had the ball last, except Brandon Staley had a chance, I guess, to do something. They were up 28-24, and they decided to go for it on their own 24-yard line. Now, the analytics do say if you get the 1 yard, you have an 89% chance of winning. But if you punt, you have an 82% chance of winning. Just punt the goddamn ball. So they don't. They get stuffed again because they always get stuffed on 4th and 1. And then, I don't even know what happened. How does Kirk Cousins? How does crowd noise in a home game affect you? They couldn't get they had the ball with like 35 seconds at the 8-yard line or something.
Well, they could have spiked it.
They didn't spike it.
They could have spiked it. They could have gotten together. Yeah, it was just a mess.
Did Kirk have money on the game? So he throws the ball. In his defense, it was really a touchdown. I mean, the guy should have caught the ball. Hit him right in the arm. Was it Hawkinson?
I think so.
And it popped right up, and they intercept it, and the Chargers win the game 28-24. But what a wild finish to that game.
The 4th down, you nailed it with that. I couldn't believe it either. And you give it to the backup running back. Out of all the guys they have on that team, they give it to Josh Kelly. And nothing against Josh Kelly, but he's the backup running back for a reason, right?
But Eckler's out.
Right. And they could have done the tush push. Justin Herbert is 6'5". Yeah, he's 6'5". He's like 250. He's like 2 of me. I couldn't imagine that he would get on a plane ride home if they would have lost that game.
I know.
His seat would have been so hot that his ass would have been on fire for weeks.
I still can't believe they still kept him because he's defending the situation. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 12.5-point favorite. We talked about that. They won 41-10. That was, brutal, but for the Bears fans anyway. We were watching the game. I'll tell a little story. So we're at the Four Shadows. The other owner, our guy Matt, he's a better, gambler. He listens sometimes. Hopefully he's listening. He had a parlay, like a 5 or 6 leg parlay, man, and he hit all 5 of the first 6, and the 6th one was just Bears plus 14.5.
Oh no!
And they gave him an option, dude.
Oh no!
They gave him the buyout for like $400. Just take it. And I'm like, dude, just take it. Just take it, dude. He's like, well, what about? I'm like, no.
What was the score at this point?
Oh, it was like 14-0 at that time.
Oh my god!
And I was like, dude, just take it. If you want it, you could hedge it. You could get the money and then come back with a $100 bet, money line or something. Just, do something to, you want to hedge yourself. And instead, he didn't. And it was a painful moment for us all to see at the bar. And he was getting upset, and him in the corner. It's okay.
It was over
We've
in
all
the
been
third
there.
quarter. That's what the sad part is.
Yeah.
Actually, it was over in the second quarter, like halftime.
It was whatever the score. It was something.
God.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Tough beat.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah, sorry, man. I shouldn't have said your name openly. So anyway, Seattle won 6.5. They were 6.5 point favorites. This was an interesting game. Andy Dalton played pretty good. They actually was moving the offense, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think then they had some defensive injuries, and they couldn't stop Seattle because this game was kind of back and forth. Final score was 37-27. I think if you watched that game, you were probably on the right side if you took Carolina in that one until the injuries, because it looked like they were contend at least in that game.
Yeah, and it was a weather game too. It was raining the whole game, and Adam Thielen, I think, had 11 catches for $120 somewhere in there. So and DJ Chark, I think, had 90 yards receiving on a couple catches, I think 4 or 5. So shout out to Bryce Young and not having weapons to throw to.
Right.
I read that in an article the other day.
Did you hear that? It's an article. They said that the separation. So what is it? Maybe it's Jordan Love they were talking about.
Well, Jonathan Mingo, they were talking about, I think, in this article too, the separation where he was like their top, like a first round pick or whatever. And,
right.
I mean, I just imagine the DJ Chark deal not happening and the Bears having the first overall pick last year and taking. It'd be so amazing to see what would happen now. But
Dalton was willing to throw into coverage. That's basically what the difference is. What they were saying.
Yeah,
he was willing to throw into contested catches where Bryce is not one, because he's so used to having guys wide open.
Right. Well, 14 years in the league for Dalton. Obviously, you can expect him to maybe have a little more anticipation, but yeah, Carolina didn't look bad. Obviously, I think Bryce Young was cleared today.
He's playing,
so he should play this weekend.
That's why the line jumped.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll talk about that game in a minute. But yeah, I mean they had some resilience. Chuba Hubbard actually had a decent game too, and Miles Sanders, the running game was well, but obviously not enough to beat Seattle. But Seattle's getting hot, so watch out for Seattle. They're ever since the week 1, obviously they had that giant debacle, but ever since then they're definitely turning the corner. Yeah,
Gino. 2 more games, just quick mentions, I guess. Arizona, I didn't say this for the game. I said for the half. But Arizona was a 11-point dog at home. And this team they've been salty. I mean, everybody thought they're going to suck. They're not the worst team in the NFL, Chicago Bears. They actually led wire to wire in this game. Dallas really never led, and it's kind of surprisingly maybe. But if you look into the preseason or pregame report, there were injuries on the offensive line for Dallas. And they couldn't really, give it Arizona credit on the defense. They're playing really well. And Josh Dobbs, he's balling. He didn't have great numbers, but he's leading this team. And they won 28-16 outright.
Yeah, and the big thing that I took away was how young this coaching staff was. They had a really good game plan for the Cowboys, too. If you watch the very beginning, I think the first play of the game, they did a read option right at Micah Parsons. And it was a 45-yard run for Josh Dobbs.
Wow.
So, they had a lot of misdirection, a lot of backside. Obviously, Dallas is a really, aggressive defense.
Very
so you definitely
defense.
want to get them flowing one way and get them going the other way. And they did that really well. So that's what I really took away, was just like, okay, this is a really young, the youngest coaching staff by far in the NFL, and they put together a good game plan. But I'm curious to see how Dallas's defense. I know we were talking about Diggs not being Diggs not being the greatest corner, but they definitely have a difference out there, because they were picking. I can't remember the other corner's name for Dallas that took a spot, but they were definitely picking on that second corner that came in.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
We'll definitely see moving forward. That's what I'm curious to see moving forward. So.
Here's another. The last one was the Rams. We talked about the push for you. I ended up having the Bengals and betting on the Bengals here, so I just got the push. So the Bengals closed as a 3-point favorite at home. And Burrow looked better. I don't think he was amazing. They definitely got the ball to Jamar Chase. 12 catches, 141 yards, targeted him 15 times. They were throwing that little flare thing out of the backfield, just get the ball in his hands. And he did, T. Higgins still can't catch the ball, though. But was McVay betting on the game? Like, he did. He kicked the field goal. Now, I understand you were down 10. It was 19-9 late. But it was kind of weird when they got down there. He tried to run the ball with, inside 2 minutes. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, like, he kicks a field goal. Look at him. Mr. knows the line, supposedly not. So they end up winning 19-16. Cincinnati did.
Yeah, and to your point, Cincinnati still hasn't really looked the form. Their defense was great. They had 6 sacks, I think, and 3 or 4 takeaways.
Once the left tackle went out for the Rams, it was over.
Yeah.
Hendricks just killed that dude.
Yes.
He had like 3 sacks in like 4 plays. I mean, they were just jailbreaks.
Just
you know?
straight after him, yeah. And so it just... Puka Nacua is still really good. And
He's
I
good.
Can't believe they took him in like the 5th round.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing to me how that happens every year. You have teams that just find these gems. But to your point, it's the first time in Joe Burrow's career he actually won without throwing a touchdown pass.
That's amazing.
So, yeah,
because they only had the one rushing, and McPherson had. Did he have 4 field goals of 50 yards?
Yeah,
right?
4. Yeah, I think it was 4 field goals maybe.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he got a game ball. I saw it on Instagram. So. But yeah, well, I'm curious to see. They play Tennessee this week, which we'll get into. But good win for Cincinnati, finally off the schneid. So
yeah, no kidding.
We're gonna see.
Well, let's go over some storylines for Week 4. Looks like Burrow is, he already played, so it's kind of an old update, but looks like he's fine. Mike Williams did tear his ACL for the Chargers. Feel bad for that guy. He had a big touchdown in that game.
Yeah.
We talked about Derek Carr. He's going to be out this week, and Jameis is in. Which we'll talk about that. How affects the handicap.
Winston, baby, hell yeah.
Garoppolo is still in concussion protocol, so if he doesn't go, it's Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell. I'm not even sure. Where did he go to college?
Purdue.
Know? Oh.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell. You don't know Aiden. He was like the talk of the preseason, man. That kid's good.
Is he? Well,
he's going to be
better than Hoyer. I'll tell you that right now. We've got Bryce Young is back. We mentioned that. Looks like Gus the Bus Edwards, he got knocked out of the game. He's back to practicing despite being in the concussion protocol, so I don't know how he did that. And then you want to do your speculation. We talked about Kirk Cousins maybe being traded, but you think another guy could be traded to the Jets.
Yeah,
possibly.
So another name that might be spicy is Ryan Tannehill. So I was reading another article on Twitter, obviously. That's where I spend most of my time. But it actually makes sense, though, because they have 2 young quarterbacks they need to figure out what they're going to do with. And Tannehill actually, I think, would fit in well in New York. Obviously, just the scheme they want to run, I think his mobility would help out that. It would help out that offensive line a lot. And I think it would present a little more challenge because obviously Josh Allen has that ability to him. He's obviously a lot better than he's not. Ryan Tannehill is not obviously Josh Allen, but just having that factor I think would help because they all have very aggressive defenses in the AFC East. So it kind of made sense when I was reading it. I never even thought of it, but from hindsight, it makes
sense. I mean, he's still got something in the tank. I mean, he hasn't played great in big high leverage situations, but I mean, 3 years ago, he had a really good season.
Yeah, he went into Foxborough and beat Tom Brady in his final playoff game as a Patriot. So, you never know. It's magic.
Let's talk about the actual games here. So, tonight, we've got Detroit at Green Bay. Green Bay is a 2-point dog at home, 45-point total. It's going to kick off in like 20 minutes, but, I mean, this line did move to Detroit. I'm conflicted about this one. Detroit actually has beaten Green Bay in the last couple seasons, even with Rodgers there. And I think they're the better football team, but metrically these teams are very even right now. So I don't know. 2 points at home. I probably would. I know I wrote in the article I took Detroit, but I think I'm flipping now, and I'd take the points. I mean, you're at home, Green Bay. I mean, I don't think Love is going to play great, but you do have Aaron Jones back, so it does help him.
I love this game from a DFS standpoint.
Yeah.
I think from a DFS standpoint, you could build so many good Green Bay lineups. From a point perspective, I think Detroit's probably the way to go. Even though I'm kind of with you, I don't know if I still like Jared Goff outside. If if it's inside, it's a different story. I definitely trust Green Bay's defense more, obviously. But just it's so hard not to take Detroit from. There is a hard.
This
you're
is
right,
a key game. These both teams are 2-1.
This smells like a Jahmyr Gibbs game. Like if Detroit's going to win, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the reason why they win. And last week they didn't utilize him very much in the passing game. He only had like 2 receptions, even though he played like 64% of the snaps. So I could definitely see him having 5 or 6 or even 7 catches tonight. But man, this one's. I would stay away from this. I would definitely take the over. The weather's going to be nice.
It's 45 seems way low.
So.
Okay, next game. This is our first London game this year. Atlanta goes to the home. They're not home, but Jacksonville Jaguars, the London Jaguars, and they play there every year. So it's kind of they have a following, and they've done pretty well there. Their Jags are 3-point favorites at home in London, 43-point total. So it's a pretty low total in this game, mainly because Atlanta likes to grind.
Oh yeah,
and we obviously saw what Houston could do against this team, but. I'm still going to lay the points with the Jags. I think they're going to get back on the. I'm a Jags guy. I got to put my Jags shirt back on. But I think that they know the routine a little bit better. 3 is not ideal. When it was 2.5 early in the week, I liked it better. But I think as good as Atlanta's been, and they kind of got exposed a little bit by Detroit last week, I do think I'd go with the Jags and lay the points.
Yeah, last week was the St. Brown show for Detroit. He ate them alive for sure. I'm with you. I think this is the Calvin Ridley week. I think he's been due. He's got to get back to that
Revenge
week 1
game.
form.
Revenge
I was
game.
going to say revenge game too. I like Jacksonville with you. I like laying the points. I would take, honestly, the under. I think Jacksonville's defense is going to get together. They're going to finally maybe flex a little bit, maybe 10 points maybe from Atlanta. Maybe like a, 28-10 kind of game. But I would definitely take the under, and I think the Jags are the side here for sure.
Okay. And then here's your big game. I know you probably have to abstain yourself here.
Are we tailgating, by the way, for that 9:30 a.m. start here? Is that 8:30 here, by the way? Because I'm so used to Eastern time.
8:30 here, but full disclosure, I'll be in Alabama this weekend. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we can't let the groupies know.
But yeah, we could tailgate. It's fun. It's actually really cool if you are at a tailgate because you usually can watch that game while you're there. You pull the Dalton, pull the Coop. He's watching games while he's at a game. Anyway, so let's do the next one. Miami at Buffalo, huge game again in the AFC East. Obviously, Miami's undefeated. Buffalo's not, but Buffalo's laying 3 points at home, 53.5 point total. So I know you're probably going to go against me here. I sound like captain favorite this week. I like Buffalo for 2 reasons. I think that the Dolphins are going to be game in this. It's going to be a great football game, but you got to have a natural letdown, right? I mean, come on, 70 points. So there's going to be a little bit of a letdown, and more importantly, I think the Bills, they're focused now. Like if they had a bad performance in Washington, no doubt I'd be on the Fins. But in this case, they both came in, guns a-blazing. So I do think Buffalo has their shot. Although, leave it to your Fins for not having to play in the Northeast in December this year.
Yeah, it's going to be 75.
Amazing.
It's going to be 75 degrees this Sunday. Let me ask you this: who do you think this game is bigger for? Do you think it's more imperative that Buffalo wins this game as far as like the future picture, or do you think it means more for Miami to win this game?
Well, I think good question, very good question. I think it's more important for Buffalo to win because they still have to go down to Miami and play, and it would drop them to 2-2 and 0-2 in the division. So right, yeah. So they'd be 0-2 in the division already, and Miami would be 2-0 in the division, right? They played in the division.
They beat the Patriots.
Beat the Patriots. Yeah. So it's a huge game for Buffalo. If Miami wins, though, obviously 4-0 and they're 2-0 in the division, they're sitting pretty. So they probably benefit more from the game, but I think it's more important for the Bills.
And I think for that reason is why I'm going to take Miami. All the pressure is on Buffalo.
Okay.
Their defense is coming around. Jalen Waddle's cleared to play. And I think Miami played Buffalo really tough. I mean, they beat them the first game last year, obviously, when Tua was healthy. But then
beat him with the rookie last year.
They almost beat him in the playoffs with Skylar Thompson. Obviously, the defense played really well that game, had a touchdown, I think.
Yep.
But no, if I had to pick a side, I would stay away because I think 3 is the good number.
Yeah.
But I think Miami's ahead of the curve offensively against the league right now. I think they're a step ahead. Mike McDaniel is. I've been watching a lot of his videos lately. The dude is just a genius when it comes to football, savant, if you will.
And it looks like Mark Anthony. I don't know if you know who that is.
Right.
Salsa.
It does look like Mark Anthony. That's so funny. But no, I think there's a lot of pressure on Buffalo. They haven't handled pressure well in the past when it comes to playoff games, big games in general. They've laid a lot of eggs at home, too.
Well, the thing is, we've talked about this before, though. Buffalo's kind of a front-running team. If they're in a dogfight, they usually lose.
Yeah.
So if it is a close game, this is why it's a great live betting spot for me. I would probably not... I've got them in my picks, so we have to make picks for, obviously for the contest, but I'm a live bet guy now. I'm like, get in there, see what happens, make a live bet, because you can get, obviously much more, you have opportunities, right? Yeah. Opportunities present themselves. Miami goes up 14-0. Go ahead. Buffalo, it'll be Buffalo, whatever. It'll be 4 or 5 point dogs then.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely, if you can live bet it, if I was going to take a side, I'm taking Miami. I would actually go over here too. I think
I think so too.
53.5.
It's going to be nice weather, but I did in the article. I said,
and life's too short to bet the under.
I know.
Just keep that in mind.
What happened last week? Minnesota at Carolina. So Carolina, this line moved. Minnesota opened as a much shorter favorite there, and now they're 5-point favorites on the road. 46-point total. This is really the Bryce Young move. I'm not sure what to say on this one. I call this the someone has to win. Someone has to win part 1. So these are two 0-3 teams, so somebody's going to win. I do think Minnesota's going to win this football game. 5 points? Come on, dude. I can't lay this with this team. 5 points? Impossible. So stay away from me.
Really? I think with the Carolina defensive health in question, I think this is probably. I think Jordan Addison has a big day. Honestly, I think
love
that's.
that guy.
I do. He's building. He's getting there. I should honestly. His wide receiver usage rate has gone up every week. Is what you're looking for. So in case he's out there in your fantasy league, go get him. But
no chance.
It's a good flex option. Anyway,
I'm just saying he's not available.
I would definitely take Minnesota here. I think this is a get right game for their defense. Brian Flores is probably going to just blitz Bryce Young because all he's going to do is look at what the Saints did to him a couple weeks ago, and I think this is going to be just the onslaught. Bryce Young may not have finished this game with the way that they're going to blitz.
He may not, but they have made the decision. We're going to go with Bryce. He's healthy. Dalton played better.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, next one. The next someone has to win part 2 is the Broncos coming to our fair city, Chicago. 3.5-point favorites on the road, 46-point total. How is this possible? I know the Bears suck. I get it. But give me a break. You cannot lay points with Denver, 3.5. That team is garbage. So if I was to take a side, I'd take the Bears all the way. I just can't do it. I got to stay away. Both teams are just garbage. I can't do it.
Are these the 2 worst teams in the league, in your opinion?
I think so. Let me think about this for a minute.
Because you said Arizona's not the worst team in the league.
They're not the worst team in the league.
So
Arizona's, I think they're decent. If they want to not tank for, for Caleb Williams, they might actually have a chance to make the playoffs. That's how I think that team's playing good.
Really?
I thought their roster was garbage, but they're playing with nobodies decently.
That's fair.
It's got to be coaching.
It could be. I
don't think the Raiders are very good.
That's fair.
But they beat Denver, so
yeah, you never know. But anyway, I'm with you. I think this is a stay away game. Honestly, if I had to pick a side, I guess there's probably a little more optimism with Denver, even though they just gave up 70. Because at least
you would really lay 3.5 on the road.
Probably just because there's so much turmoil in Chicago, and there's probably obviously there's so much turmoil in Denver. This, like you said, this is somebody who has to win. It's going to come down to who doesn't want to give the game away. I think, but I could see this game going either way. This could be a shootout game. This could be 38-35, or this could be 13-10. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm with you. I'd stay away. But if you put a gun to my head, I'm taking Denver.
Wow, good for you.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about a better game. Baltimore at Cleveland. Cleveland's 2.5-point favorites at home, 42-point total. This total keeps going down, actually. The Cleveland D is unreal. 163.7 yards per game. Yeah. That is insane. That's you said the Dolphins put up 700 and some? That's like
700,
4x. Like 4 times. They'd have to play 4 games against Cleveland to hit that, right? So, anyway, I think Cleveland's the play here. 2.5. It's a good number. I expect this to get bet up. I know that Baltimore is always salty in this matchup, but they still have injuries, and I don't love it for Baltimore. And they lost last week. We didn't talk about that game.
Yeah,
they lost to the Colts. That was another big Survivor thing, and they didn't look great. Lamar didn't look great, and they're going to face a feverish defense. So. Yeah. Division road dogs are usually a good thing in division, but I can't do it. I would lay the points.
Yeah, if he thought DeForest Buckner was scary, wait till he meets Myles Garrett, right? And I'm sure he's pretty familiar. But I'm with you. I think Cleveland's the side here. I think Jerome Ford looks pretty good for being a backup running back. Mm-hmm. We thought that it's not Conklin. They lost.
They lost
Teller.
Conklin.
No, they lost Teller, I think. In the very beginning.
No, Jack Conklin.
Was it Conklin that got hurt? They lost a left tackle, a left guard, excuse me, in the first season, first game of the season that we thought was going to be a big hindrance to this team. But they've done well the last couple weeks running the football. Deshaun Watson got back to form. By the way, if you're going to play DFS, you start every wide receiver you can name against the Titans' pass defense. Because if Deshaun Watson looks like an all-pro, I can only imagine everybody else is going to too. But no, I think Cleveland is the side here. I think their ability to actually run the one. Baltimore's just so hurt. It's the most injured team in the league. It seems between them and the Chargers, they never can stay healthy. So, but I'm with you. I think Cleveland's the side here. They're at home. I hate that over under though. I think it's right on the button. Honestly, I could see this as very easily as a
I checked the weather on this one
game
because it could be a rough one. I mean, I think Baltimore's going to have to keep it close to win this one because I think if it comes late, if it's I don't think they can put up that many points against that D.
Yeah, Sunday is 75 and sunny in Cleveland.
Oh, beautiful.
So nice.
It's always sunny in Cleveland. No, that's Phil. All right, so the next game is Pittsburgh at Houston. 2.5-point favorites for for Pittsburgh on the road on this one. 42-point total. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm all over them all the time. I don't know about this one. Look, Houston obviously showed me something last week. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon, but I'm not sure if Pittsburgh should be laying.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you're talking yourself right into this bandwagon.
No, I mean I did pick up C.J. Stroud in one of my leagues, but I would say the Steelers, they still got to prove it to me. They did, obviously. They were the dogs in that game against the Raiders. 2.5 points on the road, even against Houston. I don't like it. I mean, I think that I would take Houston or pass on this one. I'd probably pass this game.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. No, I think Pittsburgh is a play here, and I think the defense of Pittsburgh is significantly better than the defense of Jacksonville.
No
so
question.
I think C.J. Stroud is going to have a lot less time to throw the football.
Yep. He'll turn the ball over this week.
Yeah, I think this might be the game where he might get. He's probably going to look like a rookie this game. That's probably what I would say. I'm not going to say he's going to get rattled or anything. I don't really know.
How about the offense? Are they going to do something?
They're a work in progress until they get Matt Canada out of the building. At this point, I don't know how to feel. There's so many people.
Your guy.
There's so many people. Yeah,
got to get Jalen Warren. I can't pick
Jalen Warren. Yeah,
Najee Harris. You're right. He's slow.
Oh my God, he's so bad, isn't he? I mean, I have Jalen Warren stashed on every. That was my last pick in every fantasy draft.
Every other Alabama running back is good.
Is right.
Every other one.
Every other. Okay, we'll have to keep that in mind for future. Yeah. But no, I think Pittsburgh's the play here. I think they're going to have to. I think they need to stay in the hunt of the division too. There's, I think they're gonna have to win this game because there's a lot of tough schedule coming up. So
they have to win it. I don't like it. I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't be favored, but it's just tough. All right, the Rams are going to Indy. This is an interesting matchup here. It's at a pick right now, 46-point total. I don't know. I think. Well, first of all, Richardson is trending to play. He's out of the concussion protocol, I believe, from working. He's limited practice, which is part of the protocol. So I think he might play. But Minshew played well. So the Rams played good on Monday, but I thought they got a little bit exposed, especially on the defense. So I'd go Indy here, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm drinking some Kool-Aid with both. I thought Minshew played very well.
No, he definitely did.
And their defense is pretty solid. So I like Indy at home in this one. Even pick, I lay a point or something like that.
No, that's fair. They have Anthony Richardson officially listed as questionable at the moment.
Yeah.
But Indy does have two starting offensive linemen listed as questionable too. So Quentin Nelson's questionable, Ryan Kelly's questionable.
That's true.
That's the last thing you want missing when you're playing Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to take the Rams here. I think they probably stayed East Coast after playing the Bengals. I don't know that for sure, but it would make sense too.
Yeah.
Sean McVay is even though. Eberflus? No, that's the Colts head, or that's the Chicago.
I need more. Who are you
the
trying
Colts
to
head coach.
This is Steichen.
Yes, Frank Steichen out of Philly.
Sean
Thank
Steichen.
you. Yeah, no, yeah, Sean.
Right?
Yeah. Anyway, Steichen. That is correct.
Yeah.
Anyway, what is Steichen? I think he can. He's a good coach, but I think McVay is probably the better coach in this situation.
Sure.
And I think that's going to make a big difference. DeForest Buckner is also listed as questionable, so that's their big defensive line.
That's probably why it dropped to a pick, because I think they originally were favored in this game.
So I could definitely see the Rams coming in dominating. I think they could probably run the ball this week against the Colts. I think you're going to see this is definitely an under game. This smells like an under.
Smells like an under.
Do you smell that? It smells like an under.
It is in a dome though, so I don't know. No weather factors. Yeah, they were open as at 1.5.
I would take the prop of over under on field goals. I would take the over field goals in this game. If it's like 3.5, 4, I would definitely take the over for sure.
Nice. Okay. Well, let's keep moving. We've got Tampa at New Orleans here in the dome. New Orleans is now a 3.5 point favorite, 39.5 point total. So if the streak continues, which we think it will, the total has actually gone up a little bit. I think it was down even up to 38.5, just a little bit. Now it's going up a little bit with Jameis, mainly because the guy turns the ball over. And maybe the Bucs got exposed on Monday night. I'm not sure, but I don't know. That New Orleans defense, they're great. The offense, suspect. And you tout the Bucs defense. I'm going to take the dog in this one. Plus 3.5. Divisional rival. Too many points.
No, I agree. I would definitely take the Tampa side. I could see Alvin Kamara running the ball. I could see that happening, though. The Eagles are the best run offense, obviously, in the league. So they're going to, the Bucs defense looks suspect. So
Yeah.
I could see it happening. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm with you. I would take Tampa. I'd probably take Tampa on the money line here. I think they could pull off the upset going into New Orleans just because Jameson's so turnover prone. You have the guy that turns the ball over all the time versus the guy that doesn't turn the ball.
It is a
Jameis
revenge game, but he's had this revenge game before when he was the starter, and I don't know. Maybe he'd be under control. I almost trust Taysom Hill more back there.
If Carlton Davis is out too, that could be a real game shifter too. He hasn't played the last 2 games, and Chris Olave might have a big game too. So this one's a tough one to pick. Those divisional games are always.
That's what I'm saying. That's why 3.5 seems too big for the divisional game for me. So, all right, let's go to the next one. Washington at Philly, another divisional game. Philly is favored by 8 right now. Actually, I think that's the contest pick. I think it might be 8.5 or 9 in the market. 43.5 point total. It's a tough divisional game, and I think Philly's really good, but I don't know. Washington got embarrassed last week. They're going to play better. I don't think I can lay it with the Eagles this week. I'm sure you love them. You love the favorites. But even though I would not take this in the contest, I can't trust Washington, I would be on the Washington side here plus the 8. I think the defensive line is going to play decent.
It's bet up to 9 now in the market, by the way. So at 8, I would take Philly. At 9, I would take Washington.
That's
so
a point for you? That's a key number?
That is, and even up to 10, I guess. But at 8, I would take Philly for sure. I think their front 7 on both sides of the ball is going to dominate this game more than likely.
They're great.
And to neutralize a good pass rush, they're going to run the ball. It's going to take that pass rush right away, which is supposed to be one of Washington's strengths. We didn't see it last week, but.
Well, they were in the game late. They just can't turn the ball over. Right. If he's going to turn the ball over in the red zone and throw picks to the guy's hands right in front of him, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I could see a backdoor cover here just because Philly's pass defense is so bad. So I could definitely see late if they're down 10 or 14, you could see maybe Jahan Dotson having a touchdown or something covering.
Big number.
I think Philly's the side here. At 8, Philly's the side. At 9, Washington's the side. So
okay, and just so you know, with Circa. They anticipate. So they're going to anticipate people betting down the line, right? So if it's at 9 now, they're thinking money's going to come in on Washington late. So
interesting.
Because they got to guess. Okay, we talked about Cincinnati, Tennessee a little bit already, on the Tennessee side anyway. So Tennessee is a 2-point dog at home, 41 point total there. Look, I like the Bengals. I think they're playing really good. I just, how I feel about Vrabel. He's my guy. So, you got it at 2.5 in your picks. It says 2. The money's going to come in on Tennessee. I understand why. I just don't know if I can trust the team. So it's a total stay away game for me.
Oh, total stay away. Just the laissez-faire Jimbo Wegs hands off game of the week.
Jimbo Fisher Wegs.
Wow, we should hands off game of the week.
Hands off game of the week.
Maybe we should start throwing that in a second.
I mean, it is it's like a revenge spot for Tennessee when they play blah blah blah. But I think Cincinnati's coming into form. But I don't know if I can do it again. Laying points on the road, even though Tennessee kind of got beat up last week at Cleveland, like you mentioned. But
this is going to be an ugly game, but I think Cincinnati is going to win this game by more than 2 points. So I would definitely take Cincinnati. I would take the side. If you're going to, give me Joe Burrow and less than the field goal, I think every time you have to take it, just for the sake of feeling good about yourself. So Joe, they got back to running the ball a little bit. I think with his cap, it's going to make them go back to running the football, which is I think
a nice game.
Which I think over time is actually going to help this offense if they make it that far. It's just the continuity offensive line. I think it just helps more when they run the football like that. Just it gets them fired up if anything. So I think this could be a get right game again for the Bengals. The secondary Tennessee is awful, and I think the strength of the Cincinnati obviously is their wide receivers and everything. So I would hammer the Bengals here. I would take them and hammer them.
Yeah, they're in your official picks.
Oh yeah.
I'm just telling you.
Beaver Nation.
Staying away when Mike Vrabel pulls some bullshit. You're doing something crazy. All right, Raiders at Chargers. Chargers are 5.5 point favorites, 48.5 point total. Again, this went up because of the news about Jimmy Garoppolo. So I can't lay it with the Chargers, dude. I mean, I've done it so many times. Look, it's a clear smash spot for the Chargers. This is my smash spot of the week. If everybody says that on their damn podcast. Never say that, first of all. Secondly, 5.5 points. I mean, look, this team, I don't know how many times I've seen this team blow covers late. They don't do, critical game decisions. We've obviously seen it with Staley. They didn't quit on them like I thought they would last week, but they were so close to losing that game. I'm just staying away. I don't think this is a Raiders spot because they're going to have your guy, Aiden O'Connell, or whatever his name is, at quarterback. But
AOC.
There's another AOC.
Yeah, right.
But I got to stay. I can't back the Chargers, so it's just a pass for me.
Just PSA to all listeners, too. You don't want to give away your smash spots. You want to keep those as close and as sacred as you can. But I would oh man, I'm totally against you. I'm with the Chargers. I think Austin Eckler's going to be out again. I think I saw that today that they're not going to play him. So I think you're going to put the ball in Herbert's hands. I like that.
Oh, I love that.
I like the ball in Herbert's hands. I think eventually that they're going to have to get the defense right. If he wants to keep his job, that defense is eventually going to have to start playing well. They played their best game, obviously, last week. They did shut down Minnesota a little bit in the second half at points of the game. They looked like a real defense.
At points.
At times, it looked like, oh my God, they know what they're doing.
Okay.
But I would take the Chargers. I don't know if I necessarily love it, but I'm against you there. I think they could at least win by a touchdown.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll mark that
There's going to be that's the matchup of the two teams that don't have actually a home stadium. That's basically what that is. Because
that's right.
They were talking about Sunday Night Football that every home game for the Raiders is like every destination.
SoFi. Yeah. But you actually will get a lot of Raiders fans because the Raiders used to play in LA.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a home game for the Raiders there.
Oh, I'm curious to see how that goes. Maybe we should put a little side action on that. Maybe.
Oh yeah, you'll hear chanting. All right, so then we've got New England at Dallas. Dallas is a 6.5-point favorite, 43.5-point total. I like the under in this game. I'm going to put it right away. New England is a dead under team. They don't light up the scoreboard. Dallas obviously has a good defense, but they have some injuries like you mentioned. So this line is kind of dipped below the critical number. I still would like Dallas 6.5. I was a little bit more bullish on it earlier in the week, but now I'll stick with my pick at Dallas 6.5, laying it. But fucking Belichick, man, it's hard. That defense can play really good. You talk about the running game. The way to beat Dallas is if you can run the football. So it's not a great spot, but I still think Dallas has more firepower to get there.
Yeah, I think Dak's record over time too. He's like 6-14 if you make him throw the ball more than 35 times or something like that in a game. So this team is not built to play from behind. They're built to run the football. That's why Mike McCarthy's the head coach and calling plays now, not Kellen Moore. This is my favorite pick of the week. Actually, I love New England here at 6.5. Yeah, if you can get them at 7, I love New England. This might be my game of the week, honestly. Maybe game of the year. Might be game of the year. Might
is this your smash spot?
No, I don't want to give that away just yet. But no, I like New England to go in. I think that Dak is man, he looks really suspect right now, and I think Arizona showed some holes, and obviously Belichick's going to take advantage of that. And to your point,
that's the other reason I think I like Dallas. They kind of got embarrassed and got beat by the Cardinals. This was a bad showing.
Yeah,
they're going to bounce back.
And I think they're 8-0 the last 8 games in Cowboy Stadium, so they definitely have a home advantage. But I still love. I don't know what it is.
It's called Jerry's World.
Mac Jones could have a good game here. This might be the Mac Jones game because I'm telling you, there's gonna be real questions about him being the quarterback.
We can differ. We've got a couple differences here. I like it. Okay, so the next game, Arizona at San Francisco. 49ers are 14-point favorites at home, 44-point total. Look, I don't know if the Cards can do it again. They've covered all 3 games so far. I will say again, they're the best first half team in the NFL. So if you believe in them, they'll probably be a 7 or 8-point dog in the first half. Take that. I can't really say that they're going to cover the 14. I mean, it's a big number, right? They're a division rival, NFL, whatever. They've played really well. The metrics tell me that this line is actually accurate for me. So I got it like 13, 14. It's right about that number. So I can't lay it though. It's too much. Too many points.
We must be using the same metrics because I was thinking the same thing. Like just right there, that 14 is just that sweet spot. But
I mean, come on, 14 points in the NFL.
To your point though, I think Arizona's a great team because as we all know, good teams win, but great teams cover. So Arizona is a great team. They, like you said, they're undefeated so far.
Yep.
I would stay away from that. I usually like a big, me, I like my big double point favorites.
You got the big. I know you do. We like the big double point dogs.
Yeah, I don't mind those double point dogs, but or the double point favorites, if you will. But this one I stay away from. I think Arizona could run the ball a little bit. I mean, obviously the defense for San Francisco is really good, but Arizona's ran it against everybody this year. James Conner is questionable, which obviously might hurt that a little bit, but I could see him, just this being a bleed the clock game. Like this could be very low scoring. And we're going to see how Brock Purdy bounces back. He's kind of been hot 1 week. He was bad week 2. He came back really well week 3. I'm going to be interested to see if they blitz him because the Giants, obviously on Thursday night, that feels like a century ago now for some reason, but the Giants blitzed him just an astronomical amount last Thursday night. It was like 70% of the time, and he just ate them alive. So I'm curious to see if Arizona blitzes him or if they play more coverage.
Arizona did blitz a lot.
Yeah, so we'll see. That's what I'm curious to see is how well they respond to that.
Gotcha. Okay. So we got the Sunday night game. That's the Chiefs at the Jets. This was going to be a blockbuster, old versus new quarterbacks and all that.
Yeah.
But now you've got Zach Wilson still at the helm. Kansas City is in the market's 9.5. The contest it's 9 points for circa 41.5 point total here. You can only go Chiefs here. I can't really get. And look, I love the Jets. It's a good angle. Hey, they're on prime time. Patrick Mahomes has never played in that stadium yet. He hasn't played in New Jersey.
On MetLife?
Yeah. He hasn't played either side, so this is his first game.
Jetalife?
Jetalife?
Jetalife? Yeah, I guess when the Jets are there, it'd be Jetalife, right?
Jetalife, right. So it makes sense to take the Jets, kind of like if you're a handicap guy, you should take the Jets. 90% of the money on the Chiefs, guys. Yeah. So it's Chiefs or pass for me. I've actually got them in my pick, so I'm laying the wood. Chiefs -9.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're hopefully we take the Jets to the shed next week, and hopefully that'll be a little foreshadowing.
Finally get rid of Wilson.
But we'll see. But yeah, there's not much else you could do. You take KC or you leave it alone because the Jets defense has been on the field so it has to be. I have no idea how long, but it's got to be one of the most overworked units in the whole NFL.
Well, the Chiefs defense, as you mentioned early in the season, they're playing really well.
Yeah.
They're second best after Cleveland in AFC, so they're playing really well. It's hard for me when I think about. Somebody gave me a good tip once. If you want to take a dog, you got to envision them winning the football game, right? Yeah. I can't see them winning this game. Now they beat the Bills. We kind of was an unfathomable way to win.
Yeah,
and you can't visualize that. But in this case, fluke. Kansas City, if they play their regular defense, which is solid now, they're not leaving any holes. It's going to be special teams. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe they shut down Mahomes and keep it close, so maybe they can't cover the number. But I don't know. The Jets. Forget about it. I can't do it.
That's the same spot the Chiefs lost in to the Colts last year, so you just never know. And they did lose on a field goal or on a special team blunder, so
it happens.
You never know. But yeah, I think you had to hammer the Chiefs here again.
All right, Monday Night Football game again. I don't know why they put this one on Monday night. Seattle goes. Sorry, Ridgeway.
It's that New York. It's that New York.
Well, they're going to change it. They're going to go from Jets one day, then we're going Giants the next day.
Jetland.
So Seattle goes to the Jets. This game's down to a pick, 47.5 point total. Interesting. Only thing originally I'm like all over Seattle in this one because I think they're playing well, like you said. They're turning around. The Giants are 0-3. They're going to win. They're going to win a football game
at some point.
You
would think
they're going to win this game.
You would. I mean, history tells us that they're probably going to win it.
They're going to win a game, and I think Seattle's a good football team, but I don't love this spot for them. So it's Giants or pass, and I think Giants are going to win the football game. And they're not one of my top 5 picks, but I do like the Giants in this game.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. They do. Oh, man, this one is a tough one for me. I sat and looked at this one for quite a while. If anything, I like the over.
Okay.
I did talk myself into the over.
47.5. You like?
Yeah,
over.
Absolutely. And then honestly, the Giants at home, they usually play worse at home. So I would take Seattle. That was like the one thing I kept coming back to is that Daniel Jones plays so much worse at home for some reason, which doesn't make any sense at all. But I would take Seattle. They probably win. Whoever wins this game is probably going to win at the gun with a field goal, I imagine.
Sure, that's why it's a pick.
Right, I was going to say. So it's probably going to be... and honestly, if it gets out of hand, I could see Seattle being the team that runs away more than I could see the Giants running away with no Saquon and other factors. But I would probably go the opposite way of you this week. I'd probably just trust Geno a little more.
Well, Mark, I'm not saying that the Giants are any good.
This could be the Daniel Jones rushing game, though. If I was going to take a prop bet, I think I would take Jones the over on this rushing goal. That's probably a good one to hammer Monday night.
I gotcha. Okay, so let's go over the top 5 picks that I have. I'm sure they'll change. I got Dallas -6.5, which were against each other there. Buffalo -3. I don't think you have that in that one. Tampa +3.5 against the Saints. I put Seattle as a pick. Look at that. I flipped.
Yeah, you did.
I flipped on the air. Look at that. What a jerk. I decided to change midstream. So I'm doing the Giants at the pick. Fix that later.
What led you to that decision?
I just think that they're not going to lose four straight.
There it is.
And then Kansas City -9. You want to go over your Beaver Nation picks?
Yeah, Beaver Nation, shout out. I'm taking Cincinnati at -2.5. The lines come out Friday, so that's obviously subject to change. New England, I'm going to take at -6.5, or excuse me, at +6.5. I'm with you on the Kansas City bandwagon. That's hopefully we can get them 2 weeks in a row. And I'm going to take Baltimore +3. I think it's going to be obviously a division game. Lamar Jackson had a crappy game, more than likely. I think he's going to have a comeback spot as well. I think last week did he run for over 100 yards? I can't remember. I think it was the first time in his career he ran for over 100 yards and they lost. So I don't think that's going to happen again. I think if he runs for another 100, they should be fine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So this weekend, I am going to Alabama for a cousin's wedding. I know, a little weird. I'm going to be in the back country. Hopefully, you can find me. It'll be fun. What are you doing this weekend?
We're going to the lake house. We're going to, is it South Haven? I can't remember. It's one of those havens up in Michigan. So,
yeah, South Haven.
Shout out to Swerve and Keela. We're going to see Keela's grandma's lake house, or
nice.
Keela's mom's lake house. One of the other. Somebody in the family of Keela. So we'll be up there. I got Uncle Jeff's moonshine in the mail yesterday, so I got 2 quarts of that. Shout out to Uncle Jeff.
There
obviously.
might be some moonshine in Alabama too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So if you find some, bring that homemade shine is better than any shine you could find.
Can I get that on a plane? I guess maybe in my bag.
Yeah, maybe.
Check my bag.
Yeah, I'll let you. The prison wallet's always an option too. So, but we'll leave that up to you.
We're not doing that.
And obviously the Ryder Cup's going on this weekend.
Big golf guy. What do you like there?
I think Europe's by the betting side.
Okay.
I think they were plus money last time I checked. They're plus like 130 or 140, and they have a much better team in my opinion.
Oh, you think so?
Oh yeah.
Well,
There's 2 guys.
I think that the American team.
There's 2 guys. Justin Thomas shouldn't be on the American team in my opinion, and Sam Ryder I think was another one that got picked that shouldn't be on the team. And I think that could be the 2 points in Sunday that they could use.
Interesting.
Victor Hovland got a hole-in-1 on a par 4. He did the same thing Happy Gilmore did. I don't know if you saw that. He did that this morning. So, but yeah, the Ryder Cup, and then what day do you get back from?
I get Sunday evening.
Okay, gotcha. Are you more on the Alabama side or Auburn side of Alabama?
I don't really know. I've never been to Alabama. It's like northernish. We fly into Birmingham, but she actually lives in Huntsville. Okay. But this is like Guntersville, which is a state park. There's some lodge up there.
Okay.
So it's an hour plus from Birmingham. It's still an hour from Huntsville. So we're in the woods somewhere.
You checked the weather yet? No. Okay. Well, I would recommend doing.
Don't worry. I'm finishing my laundry a little bit.
Oh, gotcha.
I'll have everything available.
Oh, thank God.
All right. Well, let's talk about this first TD score. Now, is it going to be at this game, which has already started? We should probably give I know you want to talk about your Sam Laporta.
Oh no, actually, Sam Laporta's not the play. That was one of the suggestions.
Okay.
I'm more of a Romeo Dobbs guy tonight. So I think we'll start our tradition of first touchdown scorers
on Thursday.
Yeah, for Thursday night games. Why not?
So
I'm going to go with Romeo Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs, got it. So
and I think
Green
I
Bay.
put it in at 18.
Is it already late?
I think I put it in 18-1 is what I got it at.
Good for you. You already put it in. I haven't done it, but I would probably go. I'm going to go Aaron Jones.
You're going to go, yeah.
Chalk,
I think he was plus 750 last time I checked.
That's not bad. So what do we got? Have they scored yet?
3-0.
Look at that, 3-0. Not yet.
So, but no, we still have. Let's see here, real quick. I got it. Live touchdown score. So you can get Aaron Jones.
Oh, it just came off the board.
Oh, that's tough. It's probably because they.
You do that instant thing.
So you do have Aaron Jones plus 1,300.
Woo!
So maybe
that's because Detroit has the ball. Probably.
That's fair.
Oh,
they
there's a touchdown. That's why.
It is.
Who scored? This is live. This is live
radio. In case you're missing it at home.
When we post it, it'll be not live. But anyway.
This is great podcast.
Oh yeah,
this is
taking you a minute.
Look, it's not even popping up on my phone.
Come on.
Look at these guys
scoring. Jared Goff to
Amon-Ra St. Brown. There it is. Wow, all my DFS is ruined. So
all right, well, everybody. Well, thanks for listening to us. Thanks for listening to the Side Action Podcast. Follow us at Side Action Pod on Twitter, Side Action Podcast on Instagram. Follow me at Wegspool on Twitter and on Instagram.
And you can follow me on Instagram at Dalton Cooper, on Twitter at Mr. Grumpy Gills. Again, we're the Side Action Pod. Until next Thursday. Yeah, see you guys then. Love you guys. Yeah.
Peace.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Side Action Podcast. We appreciate all of your listens and thank you for joining us. We'll see you all again next week on Thursday for some more hot picks and side action. Side Action Podcast, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the show hosts or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of this podcast, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. Individuals following the advice given on the podcast accept their own risk of losses from wagers made, as the Side Action Podcast, its owners, hosts, associates, or guests will not guarantee any advice given. The opinions and advice given on the Side Action Podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Intro and outro and transition music credits. Song titles Jerry 5 and District 4 by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.org. Licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0. creativecommons.org/licenses/by 3.0.